Cities are defined by their cultures. Those cultures could entail sports or business or certainly arts and entertainment. Oklahoma City is thriving in all of these areas. But who makes that all happen? This Town OKC explores the people behind the cultures, their origins, their motivations, their challenges, and their dreams. I'm Rick Allen Lippert. I've been in this town for over 50 years with a front row seat to seeing the culture grow from a dusty bus stop on the Southern Plains to a flourishing destination. Join me as we meet the folks behind the culture on This Town OKC. Cacky Poarch, thank you for being here. Such a thrill to get you into the rehearsal studio at Carpenter Square Theater.
Well, I thank you for having me.
Now, as I was thinking back, I think we first met in 93, 94. You went to work for Michael Ghetto.
I know, Michael Ghetto. But I think actually, because I lived in Colorado for several years, I think I came back in 96.
Okay.
So,
that could be. I know I officed down there from 94-ish for a couple, 3 years.
Right. Did you really? Was it in 94 when you came down there?
I think so.
Because I was there. I would have been there when you came.
Well, I thought I was there before you.
Oh, were you?
Before you came in.
I don't remember.
It was, 30-something years ago.
It's been a minute. But we have known each other, decades.
And at that time, I really knew nothing of your background.
Right.
So I know you've been heavily involved with dCFF Film Festival for a number of years now. We will get to that eventually, but let's go back in time let's plug in the Wayback Machine. You're from Oklahoma City.
I am correct.
Okay. Oral history time.
Okay. I was born in St. Anthony's Hospital, actually, which I got to visit there in October. I had my appendix removed. Great experience. Yay, St. Anthony's. And then let's see. Yes, I grew up in Quail Creek, and that was back when it was like fields and fields. I remember, we would have red dirt on all of our clothes all the time. And I remember throwing tumbleweeds as a kid. And you don't really get to see that anymore. I don't. I never see tumbleweeds going down the roads anymore.
Not anymore.
No.
And I remember those days. I moved here in 72, and tumbleweeds was one of the first visual icons I saw.
Yeah, and they're fun to throw.
Okay, so what high school did you go to then?
So I graduated from Cassidy School.
Okay.
Yeah, and then for college I went to USC. I was a theater major, University of Southern California, and I stayed up there for several years. Shockingly, I didn't do a whole lot of work as an actor. I tried real hard. And then I was visiting Colorado on vacation with my family, and I auditioned for the Aspen Ridiculous Theater Company, and I was accepted. So then I moved out to Colorado, and we were, at the time, it was right when they had started the Aspen channel, and we were on TV once a week. So at the time, I guess I was sort of famous. It was an improv group, and it was half scripted, half improv, and we performed at the Double Diamond. Oh my God, this bar. And we all thought we were hilarious. And it's funny, after I saw myself on TV, no, it wasn't that weird.
What year was this?
Oh my gosh.
Or years?
it was 90. That's what when we were talking about when I moved back here. So it was 90-ish. 90, 92, 93, 94.
Okay.
Around there.
Okay.
Yeah. And now the Aspen channel is actually huge. It's a big deal. And they were just looking for programming, so they just wanted us to be on air once a week, and we were, and everyone was a good sport about it because we were not very funny.
But gosh, dog, you had a lot of fun.
We sure did. Indeed, we did.
That has been one of my observations about mediocre improv. It's a lot more fun to be doing it than watching it.
Absolutely.
So you moved back to Oklahoma City, 95-ish, 96-ish, and went to work at Mike Ghetto Productions.
Yes.
Answering the phone.
Yes. And I remember Mike was trying to get me to train to be an editor, and I hated it. Anyway, so I've sort of tried my hand at editing. I was not very good at it. That is not my wheelhouse at all. Shockingly, I'm more of a people person than a computer person. So, and then from there, actually, my gosh, that's when I went to work for Michelle DeLong at Actors Casting.
Oh, my goodness.
I know, isn't that crazy? Yes. So I went from there. So I went from a production company to being a casting director. Is that right? I think it is. Wow, that's wild. And that was Michelle. I mean, she didn't have an office. Like, I opened all of that with her on Classen. And that's when she started Actors Casting.
I don't recall that at all.
I know. Isn't that wild? It's wild to think about. And that was when, Margie, started her agency.
Yeah, Margie Madden.
Yes. Yeah. And she started their agency, and they were dinner theater group, right?
Exactly.
And then she was her actors, then she was getting them work. So she started her agency, and that's when Michelle started her casting company. And then, she started doing acting lessons and theater in that space and Classen. And I was a part of all that, which is wild to think about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, Margie was my agent back in those days.
Me too.
Good times.
Yes, indeed. Indeed.
So how long were you in the casting business?
See, I don't remember. Makes me feel so old. I was there for several years. And then, so I got married in 98. And I was there when I got married. Oh, yeah. And then after I got married, I went to work with my husband's company, which at the time was OK Distributing. So I was there for several years. Then I did the action-packed world of appliance distributorship.
Excuse me. Pardon me.
Yeah, and I worked there for several years. But then I remember I did Captain Supertooth, and I helped audition for Captain Supertooth, and they had chosen two people that then they had kind of waited so long to launch the program that those people got jobs. So then I was one of the main Captain Supertooth for Delta Dental.
I remember recording one of your performances as Captain Supertooth.
Yeah. So that was actually...
That was for the Dental Association?
Delta Dental.
Delta Dental.
Yeah, that was a program that they launched, and they still are doing it. Yeah, and that was actually really great because I traveled all over Oklahoma and went to all these small towns, and it was amazing. And something that I found particularly interesting is that smaller towns invest a lot of time and resources into their schools.
Of course.
Yeah. And so it was a huge difference going to smaller schools. I mean, I would go to schools that it was like, well, almost wasn't even an address. I remember this one school, I don't even know if it was a county, but it was like 4 counties conjoined to this one spot, this one building. And I remember going to performing at that school. And it was a type thing when you'd get directions and you're like, well, turn left at the second stop sign, stuff like that.
Right.
Yeah. But I loved doing that. And it was great to travel across the state. I loved doing that. So I did that for several years. And then I was doing movies. I mean, when I was pregnant with my first child, I was in Making Arrangements with Melissa Scaramucci.
I was in that too.
Yeah.
I got cut.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. Well, I'm sure you were great, though.
And I didn't realize it until I watched the premiere.
Oh, right. Oh, wow.
However, it's still on my resume.
Yeah.
I mean, the check cleared.
That's right. Well, and it was that film that really launched dCFF into being what it is today. When Melissa was traveling the film festival circuit with that film, Making Arrangements, and we would go with her, she realized what a film festival could be and that we needed to make it big in Oklahoma. And so dCFF was founded by Justin and Jason Floyd. And, the first year was at the fairgrounds. That was 2001. The next year was in downtown Edmond. And then it was really Melissa's idea to move it to downtown Oklahoma City and to make it big and to get, city stakeholders involved.
Yes.
So that's when we moved it downtown to 2003. Yeah. It was really because in my opinion, it was because of that film and because of touring the film festival circuit and what could be done with a film festival.
Is it seen anywhere anymore? Is it available to be seen anywhere?
That's really interesting you ask that. I don't know. And I know for this year, because this year is our 25th anniversary of the dCFF Film Festival, and we are having flashback screenings. That's fascinating. I should see if we can screen that film. Interesting. I'll have to ask Melissa. I don't know. I haven't seen it in a long time. I mean, my child that I was pregnant with is now 23 years old. So
my goodness.
I know. I know. Isn't that wild to think about that?
Yes, it is.
Yes, it is. I know.
And my wife and I think I recall giving you a baby present with that child.
Yes. It was a non-bae picture frame.
It was. And it was baby's first non-bae.
Yes. Oh my gosh, yes. Because I moved about a year and a half ago and I packed it up.
Oh,
and
thank
it
you.
came with me to our new house. Yeah, I love that picture frame. I can't believe I remember that exactly what you gave me. Yeah, I do. Thank you. It's a great picture frame.
I just remember it was non-bae. I'm glad you remember it was a frame.
Yeah, I love non-bae. I think it's so cool looking.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so making arrangements is basically responsible for the explosion of dCFF Film Festival. How did you get involved in it?
Well, like I said, when I toured, I mean, same thing. When I toured with Making Arrangements, because I joined Melissa on several of the spots, and it was then, I mean, too, that we sort of, I guess, shared a vision of what it could be, you know? And so Melissa led the charge, and I too followed along. I mean, really in year 3, there were the Fab Five that moved it downtown. Justin Floyd, Brian Hearn, who was the curator of the Museum of Art, the film curator, Jeffrey L. Smith, me and Melissa. And we were, I mean, I used to call ourselves the Fab Five, and we moved it downtown in 2003. And then Kim Haywood, you know, she volunteered, and then she became our first employee, which I think that was 2005 is when we hired her, 2004, 2005. And then it just kind of took off from there. I guess I stepped in as executive director in 2004, and then Melissa became the official program director in 2004, and we did that until 2010, and then Lance McDaniel took my job, and then Kevin Ely, who's now our senior program director, he shadowed Melissa for a little bit, but then it was really Kim Haywood who took over programming.
I remember in those early days being on some panels. Jeffrey L. Smith recruited me to be on some panels. I think I was on one each year for the first 3 years. It was downtown.
Yeah.
And I remember also screening some films, and that was always a lot of fun.
Yeah. And that was, and in the early days, we definitely wanted to use converted spaces, and we wanted people to walk around downtown. Like, it's so crazy to think about what it is right now. Year 10, we closed down Broadway to do an outdoor screening.
I remember.
There's no way you could do that now.
Yeah.
No way.
And that was the skateboarder
Yeah,
movie.
The Birth of Big Air.
Yeah.
Yes, and that was, Spike Jonze was our first, like, big celebrity to come. Yeah, and then it just it exploded, and, you know, and
then 1 year you shut down Sheridan and Film Row.
Yeah, Film Row.
To show Rainbow Around the Sun.
Yes, that's right. And then I think the next year was Sweethearts of the Prison Rodeo. Yeah, on Film Row. Yeah, which now I can't imagine doing that now, you know, in those areas, which is great for Oklahoma City. And that also, there were some stakeholders in the early days that really wanted us to bring something vibrant downtown. I mean, Anthony McDermott's one of them who has come back to being on the board, but he owns TAP Architecture, and, you know, he got on board because he wanted cool stuff happening downtown. Yeah, of course.
What a great reason.
Yeah, that's wild to think about all that.
So where are some of the venues dCFF will be using this year?
So this year it is.
And in the year 2025, let me specify.
Indeed. The year of our Lord, 2025. So there are theaters, right? So as I was saying, you know, back in the day, we'd used converted spaces, and we would just put chairs up in, you know, the Skirvin Hotel or IAO Gallery, which doesn't exist anymore, the Untitled Art Space. But this year it's at Harkins, which we've been at Harkins for
a lot of years.
Yeah, over 15 years. And then the Rodeo Cinema, the one in Stockyards, and also the one on Film Row, will be at the First Americans Museum, and will be at the Oklahoma City Museum of Art.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. I can remember in those earlier years downtown the fun of walking from one venue to the next.
Right. You still can walk around downtown, but this year we're going to have a collaboration with Lime. And so you can get a discount if you buy a pass to ride Limes. We're going to have a shuttle service. There's also the streetcar, which didn't exist, you know, years ago. So there's lots of modes of transportation to get you to all the locations.
It's wonderful. What has been the biggest eye-opener for you as executive director? You've done this This is your second term.
It is, and it's, this is my second
You came back.
I did. Yeah, I was asked.
You didn't learn the first time.
I know, sucker. And it's really funny. I was even talking to the mayor about that. I was like, I'm stepping down. He goes, oh, really, again? And I was like, yeah, again, thank you. What has been eye-opening? So this time around, it's actually very interesting because, when we were, trying to get fundraisers and tell people what a film festival was, nobody got it. dCFF, they didn't get it. Are you a horror film festival? Deadhead Film Festival? Nobody got it. This time around, we have a vibrant film industry and people get it. And people care about the film industry. They care about workforce development. And we have leaned very heavily into that. Like our statewide education tour is exploded over the last 2 years. And in particular, it is even part of the curriculum here in Oklahoma is media arts training. So not only are we teaching students, but we've taught teachers how to teach media arts. Our dCFF University has expanded. So last year was the first year that a group of young people made a short film at OCCC, and it screened at dCFF. So these, high school kids now have an IMDb credit. They got to know what a film premiere is like. That film has gone on to win multiple awards at other film festivals. And this year there will be 2 short films created by young people, one at Rose State and then one at dCFF University. And so those... just how much it's been able to expand and be embraced and how important we really are in the fabric of the film industry in Oklahoma. It's great. It's been great to be a part of it and get that feedback. I was also talking to Ryan Belgart, who will be premiering his latest Jurassic Games film at dCFF 2025. But he was talking about his first film festival. He came and he was part of the movie guys, he and Lucas Ross. And they worked at KOUT 43 and they were doing film reviews or film on the couch. They would review films on the couch. And they came to the film festival and Ryan at one point was sitting in the audience and it was either that film festival or, film festivals afterwards that he was listening to a director talk. And he literally thought to himself, I want to be that guy. I want to be that guy right there. And then he became that guy. And it's because of dCFF Film Festival.
How about that? I remember chatting with those two in the lobby of the Museum of Art during dCFF one time. They were having a grand old time down there.
Yeah.
I want to back up to what you mentioned, the statewide educational outreach. That is a fantastic hook to get noticed statewide, as well as, like you say, to generate the workforce and develop the workforce. So how did that come about?
So it was really started by Lance McDaniel back in, whenever he was ED. So he became executive director in 2010. Let's say he launched it in 2012. I'm not really sure. But it did win the Governor's Arts Award in 2014. So it was recognized back then. But what we've been able to do is really incredible just because, again, people understand the film industry better. And I think there's a better understanding of, because it's such a collaborative work environment, you need so many different people. Like you need transportation and you need construction and you need, craft services and costumes and makeup, much, other than just people who are actors or behind the camera. So I think it is, people understand it better, all the different seats that are at that table. And so we've been embraced more, I guess, or people are more welcoming to, yes, we want to learn from you.
So what happens when you go to a school or a school system in a remote part of the state? Talk me through that process. Is it 1 day, 2 days, a week, an hour? What's going on?
I can honestly say it is flexible for almost every school. So right now, our education program is headed up by Victor Caballero, who was the Director of Education and Outreach. And so he, depending on what school he goes to and what they want, he actually changes each presentation per school. And he literally, before every school, he'll take a photo of the school. So let's say he's in Hugo. He'll take a photo of the school and add it to as the first slide of his presentation. So he will say, hello, Hugo, it's great to be here. He likes to go to a coffee shop, so he knows what he's talking about. He usually likes to have breakfast or lunch, so he can talk to the kids about, I just had the best burger at blah, blah, blah. He loves it. He is really into it, and he's really good about changing his messaging depending on who he's talking to. There are some young people that are learning about gaming. And so kind of that industry also is very similar to the filmmaking industry. So he's talked to people about that. People who are into graphic design, he can talk to them about that. I know that right now a grant that we have proposed to the Oklahoma City Community Foundation was for 3 schools, it's 3 alternative schools, small dead-center universities. And so dead-center university is kind of a broader term right now, but it means that Victor would go to these schools and make a film, right, with these young people. And we actually called those schools to see what they wanted. And each school was different. One school wanted Victor to come and do it all day. Another school wanted Victor to come on weekends, 4 consecutive weekends. Another school wanted him to potentially come back every day for a week. So he is flexible in that way. And I think it's really great because I think that's also what needs to be done is to accommodate young people and also teachers and what is happening in a particular environment at a particular time, is to be able to be flexible and present what people actually need to hear and learn and know about to be a part of the workforce in the film industry.
That's wonderful. Harkening back to Gray Fredrickson from the days we were together at Oklahoma City Community College, I sat on a lot of panels with him in his early days, and I remember him telling assemblies of high school kids, if you like to sew, we need seamstresses and people who make costumes. If you like to cook, crew's got to eat. If all you want to do is drive, the company has to move. And he would explain how there was something for everybody in the film industry.
Yeah, that's absolutely right. I think Victor even talked to a shop class, which you don't even,
oh my, yeah.
Most schools don't have shop class anymore, but it's really important. That's important knowledge.
Yeah.
He actually talked to a shop class about how important their skills are. So it is. That's exactly right. It is.
If you're a plumber or an electrician, boy, there's a role for you.
Absolutely.
dCFF University. I remember when Lance started this, he actually named me the first chancellor.
Oh, great. Nice. Fantastic. I didn't even know that.
I think I got to be chancellor 2 years in a row. I even made little badges and I made name tags for all the kids, put together a whole lot of information because he basically said, I want you to be chancellor of dCFF University. Here's a list of kids. Go.
Right. Right. Thank you for your service.
And I truly forget now. I'm sure Gray was part of that. I know he was part of it. But dCFF University has now grown to include Metro Tech.
Yes. Well, so I always thought it started at Metro Tech. I don't know. Where did it start? I guess you know more than I do.
in the Paramount building on Film Row.
Oh, see, I didn't know that.
That was the first location.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, wow.
In that screening room that's there, that's where we had the first one. And it was 2 days.
Yeah.
Well, I want to say 2 days.
Yeah. And did you do it during the festival?
I think so. Again, it's been a long time.
I know.
And
that's so interesting. I didn't know that. I just recently wrote out the history of dCFF, and I need to include that. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah. Well, that's good to know.
And then at some point, when I wasn't chancellor, but it moved over to Metro Tech, it moved over to the now Bank First Tower, where Metro Tech was for a while, and I taught editing to them.
Oh, interesting.
And they shot a film in a day, and I helped them edit what they did. And so I did a few more things with DCU.
Well, and it's funny because I remember you doing the screenplay contest.
Yes.
I know, and we need to bring that back.
Yeah. That screenplay reading, I think, is really important. And gosh, would you ever get a lot of entries?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. We talked about doing that this year, and then it just didn't quite materialize. But we are showing over 200 films, so we're still been busy little bees about programming for dCFF. But hey, 2026 could be your lucky year to bring it back.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Like
or someone else could.
Yeah. I was going to say, like I need something else to volunteer for.
Right.
You said you're stepping down for the second time now as executive director?
Yes, I am.
Have you named a new one?
I can honestly say the board voted on a new person last night, and they have not received an offer yet. So they will receive an offer tomorrow.
Okay.
So as of tomorrow, someone will sign on the dotted line.
And today being April 30th.
Yes.
So so that person will be in place, or someone else will be in place by the time this hits the internet.
Yes, that's right. Even though I'll still be around through August. So they're going to shadow me through the festival, and then I'll be around as to help in July and August, because it's one of those things that you don't really know what you don't know until someone who did it all was gone, So I'm sure things will pop up that I'll receive questions, and I'm happy to do that.
We call that the discovery method of learning.
Yeah, no kidding.
You don't know what you don't know until you don't know it.
Right.
I call it the oops moment.
Yeah. 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 We've had several of those over the years.
Well, of course, when you create something out of whole cloth, sometimes you cut in the wrong direction.
Indeed.
So what's next for you?
The phrase I have used is I'm going on sabbatical, because I've been offered a few other opportunities, and I have said no. But it's because during COVID, I decided I wanted to get my MBA because that's a skill set I feel like I don't have. Oh my God. So I completed my MBA and it was terrible.
Oh no.
I'm glad I have those skill sets, but as a creative, all that's very hard. It was very foreign and hard. And going back to school was very hard for my brain.
Well, congratulations on the MBA.
Thank you. So I was finishing that when I got the call to return. And so I was doing both of those kind of at the same time. And then we've had a total staff turnover since I've been there, and just rebuilding that, it's been challenging. It's been good, but it's been challenging. So I need a little downtime.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's the commitment I'm making to myself, is I'm going to go on sabbatical, whatever that means.
Have you given yourself a time frame, or just you'll know when it's time to do something else?
I know. So it's, the magic of your phone listening to you. I was talking about that with Sean, my dear husband, and a video popped up of this woman walking on a beach talking about how it's really important to go 6 months to be bored. And I remember watching my phone. I was like, oh, that's really interesting. Thank you, phone. And then I showed it to Sean. He goes, yeah, 6 months. 6 months. I was like, oh, 6 months. I cannot imagine going 6 months without doing another project, but at least 3. 3's good, and then we'll take it from there.
Speaking of project, seem to recall you and Melissa Scaramucci produced a film together, right? We
did. So Art 365. Yeah, and I guess I feel like we've done more, but I guess is that it? I worked on, so we co-directed and produced that. And then she was a producer on Sweetheart's Prison Rodeo. I worked on that. We both worked on Okie Noodling 2. So we've worked on projects together, but of that, the one film that we co-produced and directed together, it was Art 365, which was years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, for OVAC.
So do you see yourself making more films?
That is something I've talked about, yes. Yes, I do. I do see that, doing that. And especially, we just got back or not just got back, but we went to South by Southwest again in Austin. And it is, when you're in that environment, it's very inspiring.
Yes.
Yeah. And you realize all the things that you could be doing. And I do know there are 2 projects that I've wanted to do that are very Oklahoma-centric, that maybe after 3 months, I'll do that again. But I've already talked to 2 people about the 2 things I want to do. So we'll see. But I'm sure something will happen. I feel very confident something will happen. Because something, I have done everything at dCenter. I've been a volunteer. I've been a filmmaker. I helped put together the board. So I don't even know, maybe in the beginning I was a board member. I've been executive director, but I've never been an award winner at dCenter.
Oh.
So that's my next.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's next on the bucket list.
And then a film icon after that.
I am a film icon already.
Oh, are you?
Yes, I am.
Well, good for you.
Thank you. Glitterball, we were celebrated in 2018, maybe. And so Glitterball was then it was thrown for us in our honor as glitter. So I am an icon.
Good.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
So explain what a dCFF film icon is.
So there's kind of different icons. I'm a festival icon. There are community icons, and we're actually we're going to honor a community icon this year. A lot of other icons, though, are people that have made a profound impact on the film industry and are from Oklahoma. So, I mean, some of them in the past, Alfre Woodard, James Marsden, Gray Fredrickson was our first one. So people like that. And this year we're going to honor five for 25, and we will announce those icons on May 15th.
Okay. Glitter Ball.
Yes.
Now, how did that come about?
So Glitter Ball this year was the 10th anniversary of Glitter Ball. It was started as a 40th birthday party for Melissa Scaramucci. So yeah, it was her idea because she wanted to have a big old party and she wanted to raise money for dCFF. So 10 years ago, the first Glitter Ball was at Dunlop Cotting. It was amazing. It was so amazing. It was so glittery and magical and fun. And then it has just continued. And I know for the first few years after the first one, like they did, it would benefit other organizations. It wasn't just benefiting dCFF. Like was it the Girls Art School? Or it used to be an IAO gallery. I don't remember, because I don't think it exists anymore. But it would benefit other organizations. And Melissa and Lance would frequently be the MC or be involved or, help sell tickets. And then I think it came back to benefiting just dCFF. I wonder how long ago, 5 years ago maybe? Yeah, but I know Kent Myers has been honored. We've been honored. And then we've had honorary co-chairs. So we're honoring people that are not necessarily icons, but people who've had a big impact on dCFF. And like this past year, we honored Jay Scaramucci, who has been a big benefactor for dCFF. So it's always sparkly. It's always fun. The theme is always different. And hopefully we're always outdoing ourselves with how much fun it is.
And then jump back to the film icon. How did that get started? Was that another Lance McDaniel creation?
That was a Lance McDaniel creation. And it was his idea to give people awards, which is great. Yeah, to honor Oklahomans who have had an impact on the film industry. I think it was a great idea then. It's still a great idea.
And that's typically done at the beginning of festival?
I think when Lance started it, I feel like people got awards at different times during the festival, and I believe they were typically given at the Oklahoma City Museum of Art. I know last year we did an award ceremony at the Museum of Art on Friday or Saturday? Saturday of the festival, and it was in the morning, and we had conversations with icons, and then we gave them the award. This year we're going to have a bigger award ceremony. It'll be at Oklahoma Contemporary, which is going to be our hub, and so they will be given their award at the award ceremony if they're in town. I know that our community icon will not be in town, so we will celebrate him at a different time. But then hopefully the icons will be on a panel or another conversation with, so it's just a spotlight on them and their career. So that's sort of how we're handling icons now. And we, of course, give them free passes, and it's like, yes, we give them a room and hope they will enjoy the entire dCFF experience.
Moving to the Oklahoma Contemporary as your hub, now that's a pretty big change.
It is. Actually, last year was the first year we've actually had a hub. We had, a landing spot at the Museum of Art, but last year at the Fordson, which is the previous 21C, was the first time that we had a host hotel, a place where panels were, the virtual reality films, cocktail parties, all in one spot. Last year was actually the first year to do that.
Okay.
So Oklahoma Contemporary really felt like they were missing out and really wanted us to be in their location, which is always an honor. And they were pitching it to us at the festival last year.
Nice. Very nice.
Yeah. So that's where, when you buy your passes, that's where you'll pick them up. It's the Oklahoma Contemporary. That's where all of our panel series will be. That's where our photographer will be. So we, these last several years, have had filmmaker portraits done by Doug Schwartz, which is just beautiful, gorgeous, gorgeous. He'll be set up there at Oklahoma Contemporary. And then we're also going to have a legacy lounge, which will be a flashback to, I think we're going to have flashback screenings in that area. There will definitely be flashback screenings at Oklahoma Contemporary. But we're going to have, all of our old T-shirts and news clippings and photos. So there'll be an area where you can come celebrate the legacy of dCFF over the last 25 years.
It's wonderful. I just flashed back. I was on the transportation committee a couple of years and drove filmmakers around and was their personal driver.
Oh, that's awesome.
And
well, thank you.
Really enjoyed that.
Good.
So,
would you like to do it again?
Yes, but
we're always looking for volunteers.
Boy, do I understand that. I understand that. So let me wrap this up by saying This Town OKC is sponsored by Carpenter Square Theater, where we have been recording this podcast in the rehearsal studio, the grand rehearsal studio. Cacky Poarch, thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
Well, thank you. I appreciate you asking me.
This Town OKC, post-produced by Fred Oscar Bishop. I'm Rick Allen Lippert.